All righty. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. It is our 10th anniversary. It's Jake's Take's 10th anniversary this year, and I'm inviting people that I've had on and that had incredible memories and bonds with for exclusive conversations, including with this guy on my right. Drew Manning. He is the creator and founder of the Fit2fat2fit. He's the host of the Fit2fat2fit experience. He's a New York Times best-selling author, and he has over 263,000 followers on Instagram and over 1 million Facebook fans. So, Drew, thank you so much for doing this.
Jacob, I can't believe we've known each other for about 10 years now. It's crazy, but it's my pleasure to be back on.
It's a decade, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy to have you here. And what have you been up to since the last time we spoke in October 2020?
Wow, I think a lot has changed since October of 2020. During that phase, October of 2020, I was a little bit heavier, as you know. I was in the process of gaining weight on purpose once again to do my second Fit2fat2fit experiment, which was called Fit2fat240, because I did it the first time back in 2011 as a 31-year-old, and then I decided to do it again as a 40-year-old. So back in October, I was maybe 30, 40 pounds into this journey. Since then, I've obviously I gained a little bit more weight, and then I lost the weight in the next 4 months. So from January through May, I lost that weight. And have recently moved to Hawaii. So, no big deal, just some small life changes.
No big deal at all. It's definitely insane. Like I'm back in Kansas City as well. So I've also made a significant life change as well. So, but first of all, congratulations on completing Fit2fat240.
Thank you. Yeah, that was really and I'm glad that you're having me back on because, back in October, I was in the process of gaining weight, which I learned so many lessons from that experiment. And then to lose the weight was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Once again, as a 40-year-old, I'm a little bit older, a little bit slower metabolism. But luckily I was able to get back to fit, which has inspired a lot of people all over the world to, not use the excuse that age is, age really is just a number. It is harder as we get older, but I wanted to show people that it's possible.
And you did, and you kicked butt, my friend. You kicked butt. And so besides the weight process being a little bit harder than your last go around, were anything similar and different from the first Fit2fat2fit experiment all those years ago?
Yeah, good question. There's a lot of similarities, of course, the roller coaster of emotions as I gained the weight and lost the weight. But this time around, the difference was, as you know, I went through a really rough breakup shortly after we had our podcast back in October. And going through a breakup is not easy, especially being in the public eye in the middle of my Fit2fat240 journey. So that life change was really, really hard on me. Actually, probably a little bit harder than my divorce, just because it happened so suddenly, and I wasn't prepared for it. And here I was, in the middle of my journey, having to deal with a breakup, which was really hard. And the interesting thing about that, Jacob, is that food became my medicine during that phase. So here I was gaining the weight, went through the breakup, and feeling sad and lonely and depressed. And food is one of those things that gives us a little dopamine hit every time we consume it. Like I'm talking about good food, like Ben and Jerry's ice cream, maybe some wine or some type of alcohol or some type of chocolate. And this is why people emotionally eat, because when we deal with the painful moments, the emotional painful moments of life, we look for things to numb that pain, right? It distracts us from that pain. And for some people it's food, for some people it's alcohol, for some people it's drugs, for some people it's this or that. There's so many distractions, but it's all a similar mechanism. And we look for food, which is easily accessible, to give us that dopamine hit, to make us feel, temporarily better. Like, this ice cream makes me feel better. So the emotional eating aspect of my journey really, I really went deep on. I was able to better understand that and empathize even more with people that struggle with emotional eating, because it's not as simple as just, eating less and working out more. There is a chemical dependency, but there's also an emotional dependency sometimes with the food. And it's hard to just break that habit, especially if we're going through hard times in life, whether it's a breakup, whether it's, a bankruptcy, or, stressful relationship things. Like, there's all kinds of issues with our life that can cause pain. And so I get why people emotionally eat. Luckily, I was able to break that habit and get back to fit. But there are a lot of valuable lessons learned during this experiment.
And you actually did a lot. There's a lot of new stuff as well, because I was doing a little bit of research, you know me, and you added a new component to this thing, and it was back to fit. So when did you get started adding that?
Yeah, so back to fit happened, because I had to lose the weight, obviously, and so I had to come up with a program to lose that weight, and I called it Back to Fit, of course, and I had thousands of people join me on that journey back to fit, because people want to do this. Is like a very unique situation where their trainer, their coach, is out of shape just like them, right? So many people could relate to me so much better because I didn't have the 6-pack abs. I wasn't ripped and shredded from the beginning. I was 62 pounds overweight, 26.2% body fat, right? So people looked at me and it was like looking in a mirror for them. And so when I lost the weight, people were like, I'm going to follow this guy because he's going to go through the same struggles that I'm going to go through. And so on day one, I was huffing and puffing, just walking, doing some stretching, eating the food, like the cravings were there, and people could go through the same experience that I was experiencing, and we were doing it together as a team. So that's what Back to Fit is. It's a very unique opportunity in the fitness industry where the trainer for the first time isn't the leader as far as like being ripped and shredded. I'm kind of in the back with everyone. The same goals and cravings. So that's kind of what made Back to Fit so unique and so successful.
Awesome. And then you started back for more. So what was the creation process behind that?
Yeah, so the Back to Fit program was a 4-month program, right, with detailed meal plans, workouts, recipes, grocery lists, and it was all bundled together in an easy-to-use app that people could follow along during that journey. But after 4 months, it's like, okay, we lost the weight. What do we do next? Well, my next program was because when you're in a weight loss phase, you're in a caloric deficit, right, which is stress on the body. When you aren't feeding your body a lot of calories in order to lose the weight, to lose the fat. And the way the workouts are structured is designed to burn fat, not really build muscle. But it's important for people to realize that the more muscle you have, the more fat you burn. And so the Back for More program was, okay, we did the Back to Fit. We lost most of the fat. Now let's focus on a strength gaining phase so we can build some lean muscle mass, which increases our metabolism, which helps our bodies burn even more calories throughout the day. So a 2-month strength training program for people to build some lean muscle mass, both for men and women, and being in a caloric surplus. So it's important to feed your body the right amount of calories in order to build that muscle, and so that in the long run you can burn more fat efficiently. But it's important to do these short phases of hypertrophy training or strength training to build that lean muscle mass, to increase the metabolism and end up burning more calories in the long run, so you burn more fat more efficiently. Even though you might gain some weight during that phase, right? It's healthy weight, it's lean muscle mass. And so that's kind of what the Back for More program was designed to do. So it's not just always about weight loss, always caloric deficit, always dieting, which is what people get stuck in, right? And that can cause some damage to our metabolisms.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's definitely something that I've been trying to get back to, where I've been trying to get back into shape for the first time in a while, especially since I now have both vaccinations, and now I've had able to go back to the gym, and give a shout out to Kansas Athletic Club for letting me rejoin them after years. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah, I saw you getting back into CrossFit a little bit and doing some strength training. It's not easy, but it's worth it in the long run.
It is not easy, my friend, but I'm very grateful I have a supportive gym that let me do all this and let me come back. Yeah. So also, you are one of the most active keto advocates, and now you started a whole new chapter in your keto career, the Keto School. So can you share the Keto School's origin story and how does it stand out in the fitness world?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the Keto School program is a monthly subscription that's kind of like Netflix, right? You're subscribing to content that is new, fresh content every single month. So people can come on for a very affordable price, under $10 per month, and they get access to recipes, keto recipes, desserts, entrees, lunch ideas, breakfast ideas, smoothies, cocktails, all those kinds of things. And then they also get access to new, fresh workouts every single month. And then also tips, tricks, and hacks and videos that keep people motivated and answer those, those frequently asked questions about keto. So Keto School is a really easy place to kind of come to through my website. It's a monthly subscription, cancel whenever you want to. There's no commitment or anything like that, but it's just something to keep you motivated. If you're really interested in the keto diet, which a lot of people are, it's still very popular. It's one of those things that people cannot spend a lot of money on, but get access to really great information. And yeah, it is kind of like a school where each month you're learning new stuff. You're getting new information and tips, tricks, and hacks. And then obviously try and make it as convenient as possible, because that's what I found is any kind of healthy lifestyle, whether you're a vegan, vegetarian, keto, paleo, doesn't matter. It's about making it as convenient as possible. So if we could make comfort foods like pizza, keto pizza, cookies, ice cream, but then keto-fy it is what I call it, then it's a little bit easier to maintain that as a lifestyle.
That's incredible, because you come up with all these recipes. So it's just you, or do you have an entire team with you working on these keto recipes?
It was me by myself for a long period of time. And recently I've been fortunate enough to have a team of people that help me, because, there's thousands and tens of thousands of new followers now. And so I to keep up with all that, I need a team of people to help me with fresh new content, but I'm kind of still at the center of it all.
Awesome. And I want to give a big shout out to you, because you reached number 300 of the Fit to Fat to Fit experience when you sat down with Dr. Mindy Pett. So what did it mean to you and to your team to reach episode 300 of your podcast?
Yeah, what's so interesting is I really had no desire to do a podcast until a friend of mine, Sean Stevenson, who's the host of the Model Health Show, very popular health and fitness podcast. He kind of convinced me to do a podcast. And this is back in 2015 when I first moved to Hawaii the first time. I moved out here for a year and started this podcast. And then it's crazy that here we are, 5-6 years later, still doing it, weekly podcast. And so to reach episode 300 is a really good milestone. And I'm really proud of it. And it's been a journey, because the podcast really, selfishly, is more for me than it is for my followers. Like, yes, I put out good content and valuable content for people, but I learned so much from bringing on experts like Dr. Mindy and other experts that really have a lot to teach the masses out there. But I learned so much from being the host of the show. So thank you for bringing that up.
No problem. And also, who are your dream podcasts, and how would they make an impact on your platform?
My dream podcasts?
Oh, I meant your guest.
Sorry.
Your dream guest. I am so sorry, my friend.
Okay, yeah. No, that's okay. I wanted to make sure, who would I love to have on? My dream, oh, wow, that's a good. Dr. Brene Brown. Dr. Brene Brown, I would love to have her on. Obviously, The Rock. I would love to also possibly one day be on the Tim Ferriss or Joe Rogan podcast as well. And then, I would, man, if I could have 10-20 minutes with someone like Oprah, that would be amazing as well. So, I'm putting that out there to the universe. Hopefully that'll manifest in some form.
I think so too, because I'm glad you mentioned Tim Ferriss. He's a dream guest to grab. And if you could get at least 10 minutes with Oprah Winfrey, all the power to you. And I'd be like, okay, can I please have her number?
Yeah.
All right. So what I love about you when it comes to your peers and how you stand out in the fitness industry is the strength of the Fit to Fat to Fit community. And how has that evolved over the past decade?
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I started from zero when I first did the Fit to Fat to Fit experiment, and just telling friends and family. And I remember getting up to 500 followers. I'm like, man, this is crazy, because people wanted to see me gain the weight. And then it kind of went viral, right? Like, I think what happened was yahoo.com saw an article that someone posted about an interview with me, and they asked if they could put it on yahoo.com, the homepage. And right. And that day, I remember my website crashed. I got calls from every TV show, like Jay Leno and Dr. Oz, and all these TV shows were like asking me to come on the show. And it was crazy how quickly that happened. And so, how has that evolved into like social media and following and followers? It's been a wild roller coaster of like a lot of ups and downs, and just continuing that throughout the past decade. It's been learning how to play the social media game constantly is changing, right? Like social media 10 years ago is not what it is today, right? Like there was Facebook, Twitter, Instagram really wasn't around yet. YouTube wasn't what it is today either. The algorithms are completely different. And there was no Facebook Lives. There was no Insta stories. There wasn't that. Like we didn't have that. And so it's been interesting doing Fit to Fat to 40 a second time in 2020 with how social media has changed. People got to see almost like a documentary, the day in and day out, ups and downs, roller coaster of emotions, and like the food that I was eating on a daily basis. They could check in every single day and see, my sleep data. They could see my calories eaten that day. They could see like the food and the macros of the food that I was eating. And people were really involved, and it was such high engagement. So that's why I'm grateful I did it again. But it's also created this tribe of people that really feel like they know and trust me, because I was able to open up and be vulnerable and authentic with them about my life, right? Like me as a single dad, me talking about my relationship, which is very personal stuff, but I'm a public figure. And so people want to know, oh, what's going on with your girlfriend? What happened? Are you broken up? Like all these things. And I let people into my life, and it really does create this relationship of trust where, people can kind of see build that bit of trust them to me, and they want to trust in what I'm saying, or if I have something to present, whether it's a blog post or a podcast or a product or whatever it is, people are more willing to listen because I've created that authentic relationship with them. And so that's kind of how social media has evolved, and obviously it's grown in numbers, of course, because that's how social media works, but it's been an interesting journey. I've learned so much from it, and I'm grateful the fact that I have this platform to be able to share in the experiences and this journey of life with so many people from all over the world. It's amazing.
And I commend you, my friend, because it must have been difficult to share all this personal stuff going on as a public figure. So were you able to find to separate yourself, or okay, I'm not telling the public this?
Yeah, that's a good question. I really do sometimes talk with my team about what I should share, what I shouldn't share. Is this too much? Is that too much? But for me, what I've found is if I can be authentic and transparent with my audience as much as I can, but coming from a place of healing instead of a place of hurt, that's the difference in what I do. Like when I come out with a statement or something, like, for example, my divorce, which was about 5-6 years ago, I didn't just get divorced and then the next day tell people about it. I waited probably like 2 or 3 years to go through therapy and life coaching, reading books, meditating, podcasts, self-reflection, all this stuff to really figure out, okay, what do I want to share with my audience about my divorce? What did I learn from that experience that I can teach people to hopefully help them if they've been in a similar situation? And so for me, that's kind of what I've kind of learned when it comes to sharing about my personal life is like, okay, what's the intention behind sharing this? What do I want people to learn from sharing a breakup video or how can I teach people, how to overcome these hardships that I go through that maybe they're going through, but here's like some tools and some tricks or hacks that have helped me through this that maybe someone can use as well, whether it's a book I'm reading or a life coach that I'm using or a podcast that I just listened to, and sharing that with people as well has really been, I think, helpful for both me and for other people going through similar situations. So it's hard to be open sometimes because you just want to crawl inside of a hole, especially after my breakup. That was really hard. but like you say, the show must go on. We got to keep moving forward in life, and so yeah, it's one of those things where it's just sharing in the journey of life, and I think people appreciate that.
And I think people appreciate that you shared all that, my friend, and I appreciate you for sharing all that.
Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty, so you mentioned social media. So have you I know you still have Facebook and Instagram. Those are your two strongest suits. You also have a presence on Twitter. Now,
Yep.
Are you Snapchat, TikTok, or you guys have said, okay, I'm going to wash my hands completely of both of you?
Snapchat, I'm not really on. I feel like Insta stories kind of took over for me. But TikTok is one of those things that I'm focusing on. I'm up to, I want to say 79,000 followers on TikTok. TikTok's one of those like things you got to be creative with. It's almost like Facebook and Instagram. I feel like I figured out, I have a good handle of what does well. TikTok is just kind of all over the place, where I'm like, all right, do I do a dance video? Do I do a recipe video? Do I do like a workout video? Like what? And so I do have a social media manager that helps me with my social media, and she's really good at helping me create, I think it's mostly just like every other platform, consistency is key. So whether the videos suck or not doesn't really matter, as long as I'm consistent and showing up and being present, where it's not a platform like Twitter, for example. I'm not on there every day. I'm not like, okay, what am I going to post today? Facebook and Instagram are like, all right, those platforms are the money makers for us. So I give them a lot more attention to that. But TikTok is just starting to, evolve and grow, and I'm kind of figuring out, my voice on that platform. But it's fun. It's all fun.
I agree. I need to get back. I need to get on TikTok too, my friend.
Yeah, you should.
Awesome. Hopefully you can help me with tutorials. So anyway,
Yeah.
As we wind down our conversation, where do you see the Fit2fat2fit brand go next? You've done television, you've done podcasting, you've published several New York Times bestselling books. So where do you go next?
My idea, or where I want to take Fit, is where I'm not the face of it forever. Like I am 40 years old, and I would love the Fit2fat2fit brand to evolve beyond just me as the face of it. So since, the past couple of years, I've created a Fit2fat2fit certification course that other trainers can apply for and take the course and then become certified under the Fit2fat2fit brand. And so I've grown my number of coaches to, I think, around 60 or 70, where I have a select few come on under the Fit2fat2fit brand to help me help other people, because there's only one of me and there's billions of people out there, and a lot of them need some help. And if I'm just trying to do it all by myself, it's only going to take me so far. So I say, if you want to go, fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together. And so I'm really trying to create a new breed of trainers with that have an understanding of empathy first, right? That's what my brand is about, is empathy first.
Oh yeah.
But then also have an understanding on the mental and emotional side of transformation. And then I feel like we can create a new breed of trainers where people feel cared about and taken care of by their coach or their trainer, instead of a place of judgment and kind of hate, as far as, trying to fix people. Like, oh, if I help you fix your body, then all your problems are going to go away. But if we could help people on the mental and emotional side and lead with empathy first, that's where we're going to make some long-lasting change, where people can have a better relationship with their bodies, right? And instead of hating themselves, they learn to love themselves. And then their fulfillment during their weight loss journey is so much more, instead of, oh, I have to diet, I have to exercise, this sucks, this is hard, right? If they can have a better relationship with themselves and operate out of self-love instead of self-hate, they're going to enjoy that journey so much more. And so bringing on other Fit2fat2fit coaches and trainers to amplify what I'm trying to do with Fit2fat2fit is where I'm trying to take the brand next. So stay tuned for other coaches that I'm bringing on, other programs, other philosophies, people from all walks of life, from all over the world, to help really create this Fit2fat2fit movement and expand it beyond just what I can do.
Awesome. I think I cannot wait to meet these trainers and hopefully have them on and get to know their stories as well, because you bring out the best in people, and I have a feeling that your trainers and these new super trainers are going to help bring your brand and take it to the next level of excellence.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I'll definitely let you know when we can set that up. I think they would love that, and that'd be great.
Awesome. Okay, so my last question is this. If, as we all know, the COVID pandemic in the United States has slowed down a little bit, and people who are vaccinated are getting back into gyms for the first time. So what advice and I just got back into my gym after being months away, after almost a year being away from gym. So what advice do you have for people who want to get back into shape and are ready to go back into a gym?
Yeah, I would say start slow, because this is what happened to me. Is I started out very slow, compared to a lot of other fitness programs. When I did Back to Fit, because I took 4 months off completely, didn't exercise at all. And so starting out slow. So I would recommend starting out with walking every day, which is very therapeutic, both physically and emotionally, spiritually as well. Go for a walk every single day, listen to like this podcast, listen to an audio book, whatever it is. And then from there, I would say, focus on core strength and stretching, and then slowly get into, resistance training, but be patient with yourself. A lot of people want to go from 0 to 100, lose 20 pounds in the first day, and then they go too hard and they get burnt out. Play the long game, slow and steady is the key. Start out slow. Don't injure yourself. Don't try and use the same weight that you used before. And I like that strategy of like walking and stretching, some light core work, maybe for the first week or two, to kind of prep your body, prime it for maybe some body weight workouts like push-ups and squats and sit-ups and, maybe some pull-ups, or even just hanging from a bar. Start out slow. That's what advice I would give people.
And that's incredible advice, Drew. That's incredible advice. Now, we've known each other for over a decade, so you're only a few amount of people to get this.
Awesome.
So
Thank you.
Drew, they can find everything, including all the programs we mentioned in our conversation. The trainers can find out about all the stuff about you joining your journey and how they can think with you on that website, correct?
Yeah. fit2fat2fit's.com is the place to go. You can find everything there. So thank you.
Awesome. Awesome, Drew. So if you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with the Jacob Elyachar Podcast, head to Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Spreaker. Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOB ELYACHAR, and you'll listen to incredible episodes. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOB ELYACHAR. And if you're watching this, please subscribe and please like the video as we speak, because it means a lot. And I promise you, I will follow you back. And Drew and I, and a lot of my conversations with Drew are on jakes-shake.com, which is celebrating a decade.
Wow.
It's hard to believe that I've been doing this content creation for over a decade.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. Congratulations. Keep it up.
Thank you so much, Drew. And guys, if you're financially able to help me out with PayPal to help keep Jake's Take and my platform up and running, please consider visiting our PayPal page. It'd be great to have your help and assistance. But I totally understand if you're not able to. A simple like, subscribe, and follow would be perfect. Drew, I am so grateful for our friendship. I am so grateful that you took your time on your schedule to speak with me. And from all the way from Hawaii, I'm so grateful to have you in my life and call you a friend.
Thank you so much. Here in Hawaii, we say mahalo for thank you. So mahalo. And it's always a pleasure. So we'll see you next time. Much love, much respect, much aloha.
Thank you so much, guys. And thank you so much for watching this. And if you missed this, thank you so much. And have a great one, everybody. Take care.